Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, February 15th. A very mild end to the work week here in the Mid-Atlantic region ahead of a strong cold frontal system. Temperatures should jump into the 60s in the D.C. metro region, well into the 50s in Philly and New York. It then turns colder in the overnight hours following the passage of a cold frontal system. That front will stall across the Carolinas by early tomorrow, and low pressure will ride along that frontal boundary zone across the Carolinas. Most, if not all, of its precipitation shield should stay to the south of the D.C. metro region. Certainly nothing at all on Saturday north of the Mason-Dixon line. But again, even the D.C. metro region looks like it will escape with little, if any, precipitation early on Saturday. Another system, a weak low-pressure area, could throw some snow showers into the Mid-Atlantic region late Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Probably snow showers north of the Mason-Dixon line, anything like snow or rain showers south of there. Again, nothing significant from that second system in the Sunday night time frame. Then there'll be a third system that will certainly have more available moisture to it. It pulls out of the Gulf of Mexico towards the northeast by the middle part of next week, and it can throw some snow, sleet, or rain into the Mid-Atlantic region late Tuesday night or Wednesday of next week. Well, I wanted to start off by taking a look at the ensemble run of the GFS last night in terms of the 500 millibar height anomalies. This is first of all for the current 5-day period. Then we'll look at the next 5-day period, days 6 to 10, and a couple of features that have been quite stubborn over the past several days and have been playing a key role in the weather here in the Mid-Atlantic region. First of all, it's been a persistent ridge of high pressure in the southeastern U.S. Also, been a persistent trough out over the western part of the nation. As long as that ridge sticks around in the southeastern U.S., we'll have trouble maintaining cold air in the Mid-Atlantic region for any low-pressure area. Be a fight to stay as snow. Certainly this weekend, and the larger storm system that comes in the middle part of next week, again, it will be a battle to stay frozen in the form of snow or sleet. Could ultimately end up changing terrain, and it looks like this will stick around at least for the next 10 days or so. Perhaps after that it'll start to suppress to the south and east, but with its deep low pressure out over the west and ridging here, this is kind of a battle zone area right in this area right here. And indeed, there'll be plenty of precipitation to talk about over the next 10 to 15 days or so, especially in this area right here. Again, the battle zone between the warmer ridge in the southeast U.S. and the colder upper level trough in the western part of the nation. Well, now let's take a look at days 6 to 10. This goes from around February 20th to February 25th, and if anything, that high pressure ridge intensifies along the eastern seaboard. Still quite a dichotomy across the nation, with cold upper level low stationed out west and high pressure ridging along the east coast. Again, a battle zone sets up here. Now let's go out to days 11 to 15, and here we have some signs that by the end of February, going into early March, perhaps this will start to get suppressed a little bit to the south and east, and we'll focus in on that possibility over the next several days. Well, another thing we've been keeping a close eye on is this teleconnection index known as the North Atlantic Oscillation. When the Arctic Oscillation AO index and the NAO go into negative territory for a prolonged period of time, that tends to favor cold air outbreaks into the Mid-Atlantic region, and it tends to favor the sustainment, or certainly the lastability here of the cold air. And the NAO has been quite neutral over the last several weeks, showing some signs of dropping into negative territory right there, but not lasting all that long in negative territory. After that, the models at least are predicting it to go back up to neutral. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, if that drops into negative territory and remains there for a while, that increases the chance for cold air outbreaks to be sustained in the Mid-Atlantic region. And for the last several weeks, we just have not had that condition here. Negative NAO generally is correlated with high latitude blocking, and again, some signs of that happening over the next week or two, but still unclear, may go back into neutral territory. Well, let's take a look at last night's surface forecast maps from the 6Z GFS model run. Cold frontal system headed towards the eastern seaboard here. Again, not a lot of precipitation associated with it. Maybe a shower or two, especially north of the Mason-Dixon line, but not at all a significant rain event. That frontal system then will stall out across the Carolinas here going into the early part of the weekend, and low pressure will ride right along that stalled out frontal boundary zone, and its precipitation field looks like it'll stay generally to the south of the DC metro region, certainly south of the Mason-Dixon line. But again, here we go by early Saturday morning. Snow across central Virginia, may see some flakes up into the southern suburbs of DC, but again, it looks like from DC south that low pressure area will be sliding off in a west to east fashion right along that frontal boundary zone. That kicks on out of here by the middle of the weekend, and then later in the weekend we have another weak low pressure system headed into the mid-Atlantic region. It could produce some snow shower activity in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, snow or rain mixed down across the DC metro region late Sunday night time frame. Not a significant precipitation event by any means. Moderately cold air. Again, we're fighting that southeastern ridge here with warm conditions across Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, for example. Then we will watch down across the deep south here by the Tuesday night time frame. There'll be lots of moisture starting to gather itself down across the southern states. And this time we do have cold air to work with here, with high pressure across the northern plains, kind of extending into the northeastern part of the nation. That makes this midweek system a little trickier, and certainly raises the possibility of some frozen precipitation on the front end in the form of snow, and perhaps changing over to sleet. Maybe ultimately it'll become a snow, sleet, rain type of scenario here. Let's move forward here. Again, cold air is stationed to the north as we approach Wednesday of next week with lots of moisture. Certainly the weekend systems will not be significant precipitation producers, but this midweek storm can be a significant precipitation producer. We'll keep moving forward here. Snow breaks out by early Wednesday. Cold high pressure to the north. That again raises the prospects for, at least on the initial side of the storm, frozen precipitation in the form of snow or sleet. But again, with that high pressure ridging down across the southeast U.S., and the cold air will not necessarily be sustained throughout this event, so it could very well change over to plain rain, much as the earlier week system did here in the mid-Atlantic region. Here we go by Wednesday night or next Thursday morning. Precipitation perhaps changing over to plain rain, at least south of the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, from there south all the way across Virginia and Maryland. So 3 different systems to monitor over the next several days. The 2 weekend systems will be weak and inconsequential, but the midweek system next week looks like it'll have a lot more moisture available to it. Some cold air to work with on its front end, so it very likely could begin as a period of snow and then ultimately could end up changing over to sleet and plain rain. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.